Today, I'm going to cover two very basic but extremely useful techniques to elevate your D&D games. Think back to your favorite moments in video games, movies, and TV shows. It could be a good action scene, an emotional scene, or maybe something really dramatic. No matter what, chances are that scene had some excellent music to support the tones of the scene. I still get chills every time I hear Aerith's theme song from Final Fantasy VII. Sessions of role-playing games have the same level of emotional highs and lows. Adding the right music in the background can go a long way into enhancing the immersion of your players. Purposeful use of music at certain times, against certain enemies, or even in specific places will help solidify these things as special and important. I'm a big fan of having a few playlists set up specifically to hit the moods I want. They will often be labeled things like light exploration, tense dungeon, combat, boss fights, and town. Having a few playlists set up to flip through and change the mood at the right time can make all the difference. I find this is particularly important if you want this to be something scary. I personally really love making the use of both movie and video game soundtracks to strike the right tone. The Elder Scrolls video games have some of the best exploration soundtracks ever, maybe because you spend so much time exploring in those worlds. In comparison, I love the combat and boss soundtracks that JRPGs like Final Fantasy can bring to the table. Lord of the Rings is another soundtrack that I think will heighten any role-playing session. You can of course use various music sites like YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music. Often these sites even have some pre-made D&D themed playlists to try. But I'm not a huge fan of these pre-made lists because they can't quite hit the vibes I want at the right moments. If possible, making your own playlist, mixing and matching from sources is almost always better. Or you could check out some CDs from the Baltimore County Public Library and use them. The library has a few compilations of video game music on CD that might be easier to skip through than songs on YouTube. We also have some video game soundtracks including Red Dead Redemption 2 and Halo. Finally, if you're looking for movie soundtracks, we have a wide selection, including the amazing Star Wars soundtrack. You could even try out some of our folk music at certain moments. One of my coworkers is a big fan of using Celtic music during his games. Don't be afraid to get creative and try different things. Right, so you have music to set the mood, but now maybe when you're describing your amazing fantasy setting or the grotesque monster hunting your party, the description just isn't quite clicking. Imagining the game is a big part of enjoying it, but it isn't always easy to describe something like a giant floating eyeball tear that is the beholder. The good news is that there's artwork everywhere you can use as examples. I'm a big fan of pulling images of landscapes up to set the right mental image for my party. I've even started to make PowerPoints to slide across my TV so that they can be reminded of what the area they are in looks like. For monsters, particularly the weird and awesome ones, D&D has decades of fantastic artwork to draw on. I love pulling up an image of a major creature in my game to show my players. It helps them better understand what I'm describing and lets us all enjoy the cool artwork. A lot of this artwork can be found across the various products D&D has produced over the years. Books like Art and Arcana that the Baltimore County Public Library carries can be checked out to find inspiration for ideas for your game. We also carry all of D&D's 5th edition products, allowing you to easily flip through them and find cool artwork. Natural landscapes in our real world can also be a great way to show the party what these fantasy worlds look like. I love grabbing books depicting the Amazon or deserts to show my players, or even landscapes on Mars to represent magically obliterated areas. Once you start finding artwork for your games, you might even start finding pieces that inspire you to try a new monster or setting, just based on how cool something looks. Some of my favorite monster encounters for my party have been inspired by flipping through a D&D book and going, "Ooh, that looks cool," then working it into my game. I hope these tips are useful to help inspire your games of Dungeons & Dragons to new heights. Check out BCPL.info for more information. Thanks for watching.